Hello there, folks. Welcome back to some more City Skylines with me, Ben. Good to see you. Thank you again so much for watching and supporting the episode. It's really cool to see people like enjoying City Skylines. I know I say it almost every time. It's still surprising to me that people are happy watching me play this. So yeah, it's really cool as we approach New York City. You can see it there in all its glory. The World Trade Center. It stands out there, doesn't it? One World Trade compared to everything else, as well as the bridges. They look okay, don't they? Not too bad, and those wind turbines in the distance. But that's the interesting part. We touched on it last episode, viewers. We've started to build up our Midtown Manhattan, and we can begin to make it look really pretty and really nice. Now, before we get started, it was pointed out to me in the comments section that this outer road, in fact, in New York, isn't one way. And I don't know why my brain convinced myself of it being one way. I think because me and Ellie, when we had our, so I guess, what would you call it, our fiancéed meal? Is that right? When we got engaged, and then later that night went out for a lovely meal. On the coastline of here. Is it coastline if it's technically river? I don't really know. Is it? I guess it's not, is it? It's sort of a coast because it goes out to sea. I don't know. What defines a coast? Yeah, I don't know, viewers. Anyway, the reason I thought it was one way is because we went sort of the edge of this particular road here. It was about here, geographically. And I thought the traffic was only going in one direction, and that's what I based it on, which is not good, is it? Which is bizarre, really, viewers, because we also went on the bus tour, and the bus went this way rather than that way. So, yeah. Basically, I've mugged myself off. So at some point, we're going to have to change it up so it can go both ways. I quite like the idea of it being one way as things stand there, I must say. I think in terms of the way things operate, in that the traffic moves more fluidly with this going on, I kind of like it in that sense. One thing I might change, though, is I might have a road, which, I mean, I would change the Brooklyn Bridge massively by doing this, but have a road that goes up onto the bridge, which I think would look ridiculous and not like New York. So we won't do it as much as I think I would quite like to do it. Instead, what I'm going to do is connect one of these roads into here somewhere. So we'll just do that now, just before I forget. We'll have to destroy to build, but I think sometimes it's a necessary evil to create nicer traffic flow. So all these bigger cars, they're called lorries, Ben. All these lorries don't have to go around the roundabout and clog that area up by going back in to then come round. They can just leave in a timely exit that way, so that works out fine. And if they're going to other parts of the city, they will use this road out here, like these are there. Look, see, it works perfectly. Let's focus then a little more on Midtown. We've built straight away. We've panicked to a degree and just built offices up for the sake of doing so. At some point, we're going to have to tackle where Times Square is going to go, but I'm not yet accustomed with that. And I think at some point as well, a university is going to be required, so we can have highly educated people to work in the offices. That tends to be how it works. Whether that's accurate to real life or not, I'll let you decide, viewers. We do have lots of new spaces, though, to work on the Upper East Side. I mentioned before, it's one of the more leafy suburby areas, really. It's not particularly leafy, but it is a suburb, in my opinion. It's nice, is what I'm getting at. It's where some of the celebrities in New York tend to live. I think Ricky Gervais has got a place there, to name one, and that's the only one that I know definitely has one around that area. So let's build up. I was going to do a little bit of a mixture, actually, rather than just doing an all-out green fest is what I'm going to call it. I was going to do this, where I would build up the outer edges like that, you see, and then do the same thing on this side, but then the inside would continue to be housing such as this, you see. So it's a bit of a mix. I've never done that before in all my years of City Skylines, but for whatever reason, viewers, it just feels right. So we're going to give that a whirl. We've got these massive buildings now. I dare say we've got too many massive buildings. We've gone a little bit overboard with how big they are. Some of them are obviously a little bit smaller, so that's not too bad. But yeah, they do seem a little bit astronomically big, you know what I mean? Like, almost too big, doesn't make sense big. So we'll have to figure that out. And of course, with the roads, with Broadway that's going to go across, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to move all of these around. They've got a lot of helipads there, so if you've got a helicopter, you're in luck. You can put it there, no problem. Are we okay for water? What's the issue here? Did I not put it down here? Okay, yeah, happy to accommodate. Sorry about that to all the people living here. Imagine moving in and just not having any water. You'd be absolutely furious, especially in New York, of all places. I feel like when you're surrounded by water, you're essentially on an island, it feels like at times. Although it's not an island, is it? I think I called it an island earlier in the series. It's not an island. Ignore me completely, viewers. It couldn't be more wrong. It's all connected to mainland America, you see. Actually, no, technically that is an island. Up there. Look, hang on, let's just investigate. From what I can tell now, it is an island. So again, I'll take it back. We all make mistakes. So let's have a look then. Do we start replacing some of these with some big dog office blocks. I think we should. I know this is going to be brutal, but I think I've been waiting to do this for a long time. I'm finally going to delve in and give it a whirl. So all of these here that fall into that vicinity, oh, this is going to be brutal, are going to lose their jobs. This is the worst of working here. This is not pretty. It's not big and it's not clever. We've already got it as a district, luckily. So I'm going to make it IT centric because some of the buildings down here are really big, really spectacular. So I do want to get those involved. Do I want to have any other sorts of things? You can see there, I should clarify actually, it says IT cluster. An IT cluster is an office specialization that changes the office's buildings into high-tech buildings, requires 50% less workers, consumes 30% more electricity, and generates 30% more tax revenue. And that, it's good job I've read that. I now need to sort the taxes out because we've unlocked new zones. We have to put the taxes up for these areas as well, which we've not done yet, but we're doing now. There we are then. Right, offices. Let's paint the town a teal blue, which is not, that's not the phrase. It's Penttown red, but there's not a red option, so we'll go with that. Let's see if they quickly switch around then from one to another as the end of. I realise if I'm going to build this road out differently to go both ways, that's going to have to change. But it's starting to look a little bit better. They're not massively tall, are they? I mean, the problem is they're competing against this monstrosity. What we can do though, and with 417,000, we can absolutely do this, is we can put some of these fancy buildings in that are particularly big. The FBI Los Sanots HQ, now admittedly, doesn't actually live here. That's not where it normally goes. But if we're to place it in for 100,000, this is a waste of money, viewers. But you can immediately see, it does seem to make it look a little bit more sensical. That doesn't normally go there. It even says FIB. Is it FIB or FBI? I don't know if that I'm suspicious that might be a GTA reference, but I don't know. I'm sure someone else will know. And of course, we're working our way back into this area as well. We want lots of big commercial buildings and a lot of high density commercial zones as well, just because of the area that we're in. So I'm going to build these up. What you'll find is people flock to these like nobody's business, and I'm curious to see just how many people get here in such a short space of time. I'm going to build out some more residential along this side as well, so we get a little bit of a mix. I think actually in these areas we should mix it between offices and high density residential, so you get a nice mix. You're not just constantly having the same thing. Then some bigger buildings, of course, will exist within some of the smaller buildings, and it will just look a little bit more natural. Right now, having all these high-rise offices does look a little bit daft to some degree. What we do have, and I've not mentioned this yet, is we do have an Empire State Building somewhere. It's not there. I've got it downloaded. We've also got Big Ben, the clock tower of Big Ben, which looks very small in the context of New York, doesn't it? I mean, if you go to London, you've seen it in London, or you live in England, you know it's quite substantial. When you go to New York, as I found out, it's not as much as it feels like it should be. Like all the buildings there are absolutely huge. Hotels are far bigger than Big Ben. It becomes Small Ben very quickly. I'm sure I've got an Empire State Building around here somewhere. One Liberty Place. That might be a New York building. I'm not sure. There it is, the Empire State Building. So it's pretty big, and we don't necessarily have the space to put it in. I'm going to put it around here somewhere. I think at some point, maybe a little bit further down, maybe there. I'm going to have to remove a road to put it in. This is the problem. That road's going to have to go. Am I really going to put it in this early, Ben? Are you going to put in the Empire State Building? I feel like to give the New York look, we kind of have to put it in. I'm going to destroy this road as well. I'm going crazy here. I think we're going to put it in there. I need to make sure it's facing the right way and all sorts. I think logistically it has to go about there. It might be a little further down than that though. Oh, it's tricky this, viewers. I'm gonna put it there though, and I can always move it. I'm sure there'll be people saying, "Ben, this is completely wrong." I think that's kind of accurate. Again, we can't make it exact, but there it is. Look, the Empire State Building. Did I put it the wrong way, or is it symmetrical on both sides? I think that looks fine. It does stand out quite a lot. Don't get me wrong. But if you're looking at that sort of classic New York view now, when you look down there, that's somewhat accurate, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? I feel like it needs to be over a bit more, just logically. Is that going to cost me money to move it? 50,000 to relocate it. It would cost more in real life, let's face it. If I was rebuilding the Empire State Building and moving it a little bit, 50,000. What a waste of money this has been. What am I doing? Viewers, I've gone cash crazy. That's what's happened here. And we've torn up avenues. I can't even build them straight anymore. It's a complete and utter disaster. And I can't move it again. Ah, good heavens, viewers. What have I done? What have I done? We'll put some shops in there, and hopefully it'll be fine. We could turn a few of these areas as well into touristy areas. So if we, again, put some high density some commercial in there, what we'll do first of all is we'll get rid of this lot here. We don't need this section here to be district off. And it can be a new district of, it's almost like Koreatown area. You know, we can name them at a later date, but we'll pop those in like that. And then we should have, if I'm not mistaken, the leisure, no, we'll go tourism specialisation. That's the word. We'll pop that in there. We'll also make sure they have, oh no, we can only do one. I was going to say they have organic goods, but it's not going to work that way. Just have a think here. We'll do IT specialisation there as well. But what we're going to do now is put these in, which should create, again, it's a bit, I use this phrase a lot. In theory, this should create hotels that are big-ish. I guess we'll see if they do so. We'll sort of put them around there. I think they will. Let's see, is that a hotel there? What's that? It might be a casino. Doesn't say hotel on it, does it? I was kind of hoping it would. Is this a hotel? There's a hotel. It even says, look, we can see the text. It says there, hotel. So a few hotels have come around, and New York is becoming a tourist hub of electricity and excitement. Electricity? Because we've built all the way up here, and these are nearly full. We're going to have to change up our landfill sites. We can no longer use landfill sites. They don't do the job efficiently enough. And we do now have it actually. We have these here, look, the incineration plants. These are in the vanilla version of the game, so I'm going to use these for the sake of people that are using that. I do have some advanced ones, which work slightly more, but they are a lot more expensive as well. So we're going to go with these cheaper options. And again, I'm going to have to destroy buildings to build buildings. So one in there. We're going to put one next to the other ones as well down there. And then one right down this end. And this is the bit of the problem, really. I don't know whereabouts we should put it. I don't want to put it near the residential buildings and the residential zones, but it has to be up here somewhere so that we can make sure these people have their rubbish collected. Do I have to do a temporary fix? I'm going to do a temporary fix. Now, if you are a lover of Central Park, and I fall into this category, don't be offended about what I'm about to do, okay? It's a short term. We're building. I'm sure when they started off Central Park, it didn't have a incineration plant at the north end. Oh, I'm an appalling human. That is really not good. Not good for the environment. It's not good for anyone. No one's happy about that, especially the water company, because they're going to have to come out and build that as well. That's going to have to go there. Look, that's awful. Imagine just putting that in there secretly. Oh, I'm not proud of myself, viewers. I hope you know that. Okay, I don't want anyone to think, oh, I bet he's well smug about that. I'm not. I'm disgusted in myself, honestly. I'm having a crisis over it. Can you hear it in my voice? Not good at all. This is supposed to be relaxing. Let's put a few more officey blocks in there as well. Stack those in there. A few more corner shops as well, here and there. Trump Tower goes around here somewhere. There's a few other iconic buildings in New York that I'm going to have to download on the workshop so that next time we come to this, I can be like, I've bought some more of the buildings and we can put them in the right place. Madison Square Garden, in theory, would be about here. And whether we put a stadium in there, I mean, we could do that or not, I don't know yet. But we'll certainly come up with some sort of solution for that particular area. Of course, we have our office blocks down here as well. They're not happy office blocks because they're not particularly tall. So what can we do to make them happier? Apparently they are relatively happy. We've only got one really big one though. We could delete them and hope they grow again. I think it might be a sizing issue actually. I think that might be the problem, is that they can't actually get any bigger than they are currently. It might be that, viewers. We're going to have to get rid of these landfill sites as well. That one's not quite full yet, so we'll work on removing that one as well as that one. It's got an incineration plant opposite, so it should be a quick turnaround. It'll increase the traffic around this area. You can see loads of these dumper trucks now. If I pause it very briefly, you can see they're queuing up. Again, it's like that scene out of Die Hard. I mentioned it before, where they're getting awfully busy. I think it also happens. Is there a scene similar to that in Batman? I feel like the Joker has something to do with rubbish trucks at some point. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I can't remember. At some point, viewers, we should put this into night mode so you can see what it looks like in the dark. It's very, very exciting. But before we do that, we're going to fill in a few more spaces with a few more roads along this side. And again, start to build up the population again. We've done a really good job, actually. We're already at 8,600 and the population's growing by the day. I'll link a few of these roads up, but I'm not actually going to link them all up. he says as he now links up 5 in a row. I don't want to link them all though. Like this, I'm going to do a few little tidgy ones to go like that as well. As we've got this one-way road. I really need to consider then making this not one-way. Because at the moment, maybe it shouldn't be one-way from maybe here. And it could go backwards the other way. And we could use maybe a four-lane road. Now, I think we need to go bigger than this, viewers. There's an option for us around here somewhere. Towards the back end, where it's a 4-lane boulevard with bikes. Now, having been on this road on a bus, they're loving it already. This is going to be perfect. It's going to go both ways. It's got lots of lanes. It's got a bike lane. Again, I think if you've been and you know what I'm referencing, this is perfect. We're going to have to remove whatever that is. Is it a school? I mean, that's going to be an upheaval. This is basically dead accurate to what it is in real life. So, yeah, we're making it go both ways now. As we're just going to keep going along. This is costing me money, I realise. Hopefully it's not affecting the water or the water's edge. We can do some ferry systems as well. I'm definitely going to do that at some point. That should be a really fun task for us. In relation to these roads starting there, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm only going to start here for now. And yeah, hopefully it allows us to upgrade all of these. It does. Oh, this is fantastic. Look at us go. It's costing me 480 each time, which actually isn't too much. And considering the cock-up of having it as a one-way outer system, I now feel like everything's going to be fine. So, crisis over. Look at that. That's fantastic. And then down here can be a bit one-way in a sense because of the way it operates. Like, again, I want the cars to leave in a certain way, and I think it actually helps with the distribution of traffic. So, yeah, I'm not too bothered. There's a queue beginning to develop. Traffic management in City Skylines is the biggest issue, the biggest single issue for people generally. And you can see straight away there's going to start to be a bit of a queuage as it comes down here. We could make this 3 lanes. We could build it 3 lanes into here, which I might just do if we soundproof it like this, look. Because they do technically go 3 ways. They either go straight on, they go left, or they go right. So, in a way, it should work, shouldn't it? Yeah, viewers, right? Please, someone sympathise with me here. I think it's fine. I now worry that we're almost inviting too much traffic, and the queues are only going to get worse. We also have we also have a bit of an issue with maybe we need a traffic light in there or something. Like, again, what part of the issue, and it'll fix itself, is that we are trying to empty out this landfill site, which will take a good sort of 15-10 minutes of my time to actually get that completely empty. That's one of the big issues. Once you use these, again, there's certain things you can't move or destroy. Like if I were to try and bulldoze it, it's not empty. So you can't bulldoze it. You can't just remove it straight away. I think there are mods to allow you to do that, but I'm not about that life. I mentioned it before, the cemetery is very similar to that, but that's only like a third of the capacity at the moment, so that should be fine. As New York, again, look at it. It's beginning to take shape. I'm enjoying what we've got here. A lot of New York in sort of the Midtown area, around this area now, like Chelsea and Greenwich, actually is quite low down comparably to the centre of Midtown towards, you know, Times Square and Hell's Kitchen. And again, Wall Street and, I've forgotten the name of the borough. I talked about it yesterday, and now I can't remember. Never mind, we'll move on. Tribeca, that's what I'm thinking of. So it's whether we work on this end around here. The Hudson Yards project is a massive build that's going on currently in real life around this sort of area with some big skyscraper buildings. So we could put 3 or 4 of those in when we've got the money to spend it on. But currently we're not going to be able to. I just remembered we were supposed to move this school, weren't we? So we can make the road bigger. I'll put it there. Hopefully there's no complaints, as there's a few sad faces, but I've put it straight back in, so they shouldn't be too annoyed for too long. As there we are. Look. Now we have this boulevard on the outside. You can see it's quite nice, isn't it? It looks good. I think we can all agree on that, right? It looks really good. So traffic flow so far pretty good. And I mentioned before this would eventually sort itself out. It is doing. Whether these traffic lights here. The thing is, New York's known for its traffic lights. I think the traffic in New York is bad. So as much as I want to make it really good, generally the traffic is quite bad. Oh, I just thought what we're going to do next episode, viewers. It's just come to me. We're going to sort the underground system out. Oh, what a treat. I mean, if that isn't a tease for next episode, I don't know what is. But what can we do, before we round up today, what can we do to complete the build? I think we need a mixture down here, maybe, of some houses, some offices, and also some restaurants and commercial areas as well. I also need to pop a few more parks in. Of course, we've got a Central Park there, which I will make into a huge park. And in fact, while we're here, Ben, let's do that now. We talked about zones before, and we can have industrial zones or campus districts. We're going to have a paint a park area, and it's going to be the biggest park of them all, viewers. It's Central Park. We're not going to work on it just yet. We're going to leave that until a little later on. But it's going to be a really cool area for us to involve ourselves with, and you'll be able to see we're going to be able to put a zoo in there and all sorts. It's going to be really exciting. So yeah, that is something to come in a later episode. We've put, we've done some of the big things. We've put the World Trade Center in. We've popped in the Empire State Building, but we're still yet to work on Central Park and Brooklyn as well as Hoboken. They're going to be two really interesting areas for us to build into because of the sort of place it can be, and whether we work into more industry in that sense, it's going to be really good fun. We do need like a main entrance for Central Park. I could do it now to try and help out the people that live on the Upper East Side. I think part of the attraction of living there is the access to Central Park, and right now, well, there's no access to Central Park because I've not sorted it out. I don't know. Do they need it, really? I'm just going to sort out, actually. Just going to put a little road in here because what it'll do is it'll create a couple of crossings for us on either side, you see? And now I've messed that up by just faffing like, oh, goodness me. Sorry, that was a shock to the system. Small city, 9,500 people. They're in. Lovely stuff. I'm just going to pop those in like that. That didn't work at all. Those in like that. Yeah, because we want these little zebra crossings. So if I'm going to create a path, people can still walk from one side of this road to the other. Otherwise, you've got to go up or under. But what happened there? Sorry, we completely bypassed that. We're a small city. Fantastic stuff. More unique buildings, level 6 buildings. We'll take a look at a few of those. High-tech housing is now an issue. We'll investigate that at some point. They're really cool. We've got the train station, an official train station now. We've got a link to that we've not quite connected, so that might be good fun. And the cargo terminal we can work on at some point, as well as monorails. What else have we got here? The basketball arena, which is part of the campus. We've got a hydro power plant, which is a bridge that also operates as sort of a dam, an electrical dam, so that'll be really cool too. Right, then, loads of stuff to be excited about. As we're now at 9,500. The areas in which to build in, I think we're going to start going towards Brooklyn at some point. We could go further up there, or Hoboken over on that side. Oh, so many good options here, actually. I'm not quite sure what to go with. I'm inclined to go building that area up here. I think this area has got a lot of potential. We can do some really cool things with industry up here that's far enough away from Manhattan that Manhattan can sort of grow organically on its own for a little bit once we zone it off properly. That could be really cool. Decisions to be made, viewers. Well, that's going to wrap us up today. I think tomorrow, I've mentioned it already, we will work on our underground system. The underground system, or the subway system, as it's known in America, of course, is a bit bizarre compared to how it is in London. So, yeah, we'll try and do a similar replication of that. But again, we can only build it so far at the moment. We can't build it through Brooklyn down to Coney Island. And equally, we can't build it up to Queens yet because we don't have the zones unlocked. But yeah, at some point, the underground system will be amazing, hopefully. So that's something to look forward to. I think you'll agree, though, viewers. I mean, I hope you'll agree that our New York is starting to look a little bit more New Yorky every single episode. Remember when we started with just this roundabout? We've moved on, but that's going to bring us to the end. Again, if you've enjoyed it, please do drop a like on it. If you want to see some more City Skylines content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again for more very, very soon. Very, very soon. We love with care. From me, Ben. Goodbye.